anyone that sees this video, look out for this product that can be bought at your local gas station.
This is what it's causing. Kratom hits the same part of your brain as morphine and heroin.
If you keep seeing ads for the feel-free Botanics, just ask yourself, why are the comments always turned off?
Natural doesn't mean safe, and it doesn't mean good.
The amount of people that come into the shop that I work at buying that, you can tell they're addicted to it. It's insane. That is crazy.
This little blue bottle costs around $10. Somewhat expensive. But other than that, it looks pretty harmless, right?
Wrong.
The company selling this, they just settled a class action lawsuit for $8.75 million. So today we're going to talk about how a wellness drink has been uncovered as one of the scariest products that I've personally seen in a very long time. First, let's talk about what Feel Free actually is, because the marketing around this product is kind of interesting and also painfully ironic to me. Feel Free is manufactured by a company called Botanic Tonics, and according to their website, it's described as their original feel-good tonic that features kava root and other plant ingredients known to help relaxation, productivity, and focus. Again, it sounds harmless enough, right? Just a bunch of plants from the South Pacific and Southeast Asia that have been used for centuries. Here's what was not being told up front. This drink contains concentrated amounts of kratom. Now, kratom is a plant-based substance that acts on the opioid receptors in your brain. It can cause opioid-like effects. I'm talking addiction and withdrawal symptoms. And these effects don't reach the same severity as some of maybe like the hard stuff, but the symptoms and the dependency it causes can be very real and is very real for a growing number of people. Because it's not technically considered an opioid, but has opioid-like effects, kratom is largely unregulated. It's actually, according to my research, banned in 7 states in the US and also a handful of countries around the world. Whereas everywhere else, you can buy Feel Free at your local gas or petrol station, as I like to call it. In fact, in the US, Feel Free Tonic is available at around 24,000 stores nationwide. Botanic Tonics has positioned Feel Free as just another wellness drink in the growing category of non-alcoholic beverages that contain adaptogens and nootropics. If you're not familiar with this world, wellness drinks are a very huge trend right now. They're full of plant-based ingredients and supplements, and companies are claiming that their drinks will help you do things like reduce your stress, improve your focus, elevate your mood. And the idea is that without drinking alcohol, you can still have a fun, functional beverage, which in the world that we're living in right now, I think, are desperate to not only reduce our stress, but improve our focus. And a lot of us feel like we need more energy to get everything done that we need to do in a day. You know, a lot of us have down days and want to find ways to boost our mood. And companies come along that provide what feels like a solution to all of these problems in something as small as, you know, a little drink or a little blue bottle. But in this fast-paced world that we live in, where we are so used to getting everything in an instant and the idea of just getting quick fixes, real results and real inner work, like anything of substance that is actually worth having takes time. But again, like people are so desperate to just feel something that they're turning to these solutions or substances. And for a large number of people, it goes horribly wrong. I have personally used today's video sponsor for over 10 years of my life. Calm is the #1 app for sleep and meditation, giving you the power to calm your mind and change your life. It actually made me quite emotional thinking of all the nights that Calm has been there for me, nights that I felt too restless to sleep. To name a few, the night before I was a bridesmaid at my friend's wedding, I was listening to a sleep story. The night before I flew by myself for the very first time and I was so scared, I was listening to a sleep story. And the night before I had a big presentation, I was so scared because I hate public speaking. Calm was there for me too. Also, oddly specific, but Wanda Sky's voice lives rent-free in my head. They have a kids section too, and when my niece and nephew were younger, the Frenchie story was their favorite sleep story. And when we were away on vacation, that meant that I heard it too, because my family also uses Calm. What you struggle with might be different to me, but everyone faces their own challenges, and Calm offers a wide range of content to help you navigate life. Calm is more than sleep stories. They offer programs focusing on meditation, grounding exercises, and they offer expert-led talks, all with the purpose of helping you through anxiety and stress, boost your focus, build healthier habits, and take better care of yourself. Calm can help you handle grief, improve self-esteem, care for relationships, and so much more. I'm so excited to let you know that Calm is offering an exclusive offer for you guys, 40% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/promo. Go to calm.com/promo for 40% off unlimited access to Calm's entire library. That's calm.com/promo. Thanks again to Calm for sponsoring today's portion of the video. Let's get back into it. There are tons of these brands now in the wellness space, and it makes total sense why they are so popular. You know, other than the claims that they make about energy, mood, and focus, the mocktail and sober curious community and culture has really been growing incredibly fast, and a lot of people are looking for ways to feel social or relaxed without alcohol. And I think that is a wonderful thing to see. However, when you move from one potentially unhealthy habit, especially it can be quite unhealthy if you engage in it a lot, to something that has habit-forming properties and can lead to addiction, you're literally just jumping from one problem to another. When something like Feel Free enters the market looking and sounding like all of these other brands, I think most people assume that it's just another harmless wellness or energy drink. But for certain people, this drink has proven to be incredibly dangerous. In the marketing materials, Feel Free once positioned itself as an alcohol alternative without mentioning, let alone emphasizing, the high risks associated with consuming kratom.
So I got sober from alcohol in June of 2022, and one of my favorite wellness podcasts started promoting this product as an alcohol alternative for sober people, and it sounded like a godsend. At the height of my addiction, which I got clean in March of 2024, I was drinking anywhere from 9 to 12 bottles a day, and it wasn't immediately that many. At the very beginning of me taking them, it was a very, very slow progression into a snowball of addiction. And that's what's so scary about this product, is that you think it's working really well for you. You think it's making you more productive and energized and adding a lot of value to your life. And then one day you're taking an extra bottle and then a bottle on top of that. And it just slowly becomes more and more until you're in full-blown addiction, which I've never experienced in my life before.
They were using language like plant-based and ancient ingredients and, wellness tonic. But people who are trying to quit alcohol can and have very much fallen victim to this and become addicted. The CEO and founder of this particular drink, J.W. Ross, went on a wellness podcast promoting Feel Free, and that particular episode was called, quote, "How to Quit Alcohol Quickly Using 2 Ancient Plants." And according to my research, that episode has been wiped from the internet.
I looked at JW at dinner last night and I was like, I feel like this Botanic Tonics and Feel Free is like your forgiveness process and really your value, like kind of like making things right again in the world.
It is, but there's still that piece of me, that I don't think will ever go away. My real motive was, because now alcohol was out of my life. I had a much better life, but I still didn't feel exactly comfortable in my skin. And I was looking for something that would make me feel comfortable in my skin, but not have the negative effects that, alcohol started having as I consumed more and more of it.
Instead of using caffeine, it's using alkaloids, and it's extremely good at providing endurance, productivity, focus, and feel good at the same time.
Anything that makes you feel good can be habit forming, especially if you use too much of it. Extreme example of that is you can die from water. You can OD on water. You can drink too much of it.
Feel Free was being promoted to a vulnerable population of people trying to quit alcohol. And these people aren't fully informed that they're likely signing up for a kratom addiction instead.
My name is Pink and I'm really glad to meet you. You're recommended to me by some people.
From what I've seen, there isn't many influencers currently promoting the feel-free drinks. And if they ever have, the videos are either buried because they're a number of years old now, or they've been deleted. Most of what I see on TikTok now are people sharing their experiences moving away from feel free and trying to get clean from feel free, and the withdrawal symptoms that they've experienced and the negative side effects they've experienced from becoming addicted.
My name is Mackenzie. I was addicted to Feel Free for 3 years. I had countless attempts at trying to quit before deciding to go to rehab.
Feel Free almost killed me several times. And I am so glad that people are finally speaking up about this because it ruined my life for almost 10 years.
I did come across a few videos from influencers, but like I mentioned, they were from a number of years ago now. And they were promoting this drink, I think, before the controversy really became apparent with this particular drink. I genuinely try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I like to hope that these people that were promoting this drink probably didn't realize that it had and was having such a negative effect on thousands of people. I mean, before researching for today's video, I had no idea of the habit-forming properties of kratom and its opioid-like effects on the brain. So I like to hope that maybe the people that were promoting this drink either weren't experiencing those particular side effects and weren't aware that this was something that could happen. A few posts that I did see seemed to be more from smaller creators in the wellness space or the sober, curious, or just sober niche. And the disconnect between the marketing and the reality is like absolutely staggering though. The tagline, "Feel free, feel good," is just so unbelievably ironic to me. The addiction that has taken hold of literally thousands of people, like I doubt that they feel free or good. You know, I can imagine that they feel anything but that. And I actually wanted to share this video today because I know a large number of you are actually based in the US and you have kids. And I've seen videos, of kids also getting hooked on this.
Something truly disturbing just happened to me. I just stopped for gas on my way home. As I'm walking in, I am approached by a child. I mean, this kid, he was maybe 14 years old. And he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, can you buy me some Feel Free?" I'm sorry, no. And this young kid lunged at me and tried to take my wallet out of my hand. I grabbed it really fast and I just went inside. So I go inside, I grab my drink, I go up to the cashier and I was like, "Hey, just so you know, there's like some kid out there. He was asking me to buy something for him." And he like tried to grab my wallet and she was just like, "Oh my gosh, it's this." And she pointed to this little blue bottle on the counter that I've never seen before. Looks like that. And I was like, "Oh, what's that? Like a 5-hour energy?" And she was like, "No, this stuff is so sad. I have people coming in here 5-6 times a day to get this. It's so addictive and people lose their minds. People act like actual crackheads or like they have heroin addictions over this little drink."
I think we all want to feel good, or at least feel better than how we might feel right now. We're so desperate to boost our moods and boost our productivity and find more energy wherever we can, because we are living in a time, I think, for a lot of people that just feels really hard. People are finding it more and more challenging to make ends meet and to just meet their basic needs. We as a society are worked to the bone. We are absolutely worked to exhaustion. And of course, we are not robots. We are not machines. We need to take time and find time where we can to take care of ourselves. And I think that is looking harder and harder in today's day and age. And I think these quick fixes and these shortcuts are basically the opposite of what we should do. We shouldn't be turning to a little drink or a little free time to just sit on our phones and scroll. I think that is the furthest thing from freedom. When we engage in things like this, when we spend our hard-earned money on these particular things that are somewhat bad for us, or they appear to be bad to us from what I've researched. And I'm guilty of this as well, but so many of us, our idea of just taking some time to relax and just to relax our mind is to just sit on the couch for a few minutes. It sometimes turns into maybe like half an hour, and we escape on TikTok or on social media. And it's literally the complete opposite of doing something good for ourselves or something that makes us feel free. In my opinion, it's the complete opposite. Anyway, I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but at the end of the day, addiction is addiction. And I've been thinking a lot about this lately and the unhealthy effects of social media. And this addiction people are having to kratom brought addiction in all its forms to the forefront of my mind even more this last week. How easily addiction shapes our minds and how easily we can become addicted to certain things that aren't really good for us in large quantities, or some may argue at all. I feel the need to say that, you know, there are people who try this product and who drink it and are completely fine. But there is also an alarming number of individuals who have become scarily addicted. The stories are truly heartbreaking and they actually scare the crap out of me. And this is just one of the reasons among many why I wouldn't want to touch this. Like, I wouldn't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. I don't know if I could become one of those people that you see or you hear about from today's video. And I don't want to take my chances. But I do want to share some experiences people are having with this, just so you understand the severity of it. I'm sure I've showed you throughout today's video a number of TikToks, and you will continue to see people's TikToks and their experiences. But what I think is really quite alarming is the Reddit group of like over 5,000 users sharing their experiences with Feel Free and quitting Feel Free. People are posting in here incredibly regularly just to share their experiences, but also as a place to find support. Some of the most recent ones, I mean, with this first one here from 49 minutes ago reads, 14 days, unbelievable. I think it does get a little easier the further along you get. I always got caught up in the day 2 to 4 cravings. I still get cravings, but they're more like reactions or just like someone tried to shove the idea in my head without my consent, but they pass. Pretty sure I'm experiencing some of the pause though. Random doom and gloom that kind of tries creeping in. I'm exhausted and so unmotivated. I have so much to do at home, but I just can't get myself to do it, but that's okay. This would have been another excuse to go buy some Feel Free to get moving, but who cares? My place can look like a wild animal ran through it and no one will know or care. The days go by quickly now. It feels like if you're in the first week and time feels like it's not moving, just keep pushing. Real life is on the other side waiting. This one here, look at how dry her hands are, her or him, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, fully recovered. Oh my gosh, that is scary. This one here from just 4 days ago, thought it was funny today, went to buy 2 things and the guy said 2 shots of legal heroin coming right up in front of a whole line of people with the most flat effect. Put me on the spot and embarrassed me. Really took me by surprise and ended up throwing them away an hour later. Really appreciate that gas station clerk today and I'm really proud of myself for tossing them. Someone here from literally just 2 hours ago said, what are the biggest benefits of quitting for you? Here I am attempting to quit again. I need motivation to push me to stop. For those of you that have broke the chain of addiction, what's been the biggest difference you've noticed? Saving money is obvious, but from a feeling perspective, what's changed? And you know, people have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on this particular wellness tonic Feel Free addiction. It's actually terrifying. Hi, I'm a fairly new user to Feel Free. I've only been taking them as suggested with only half a serving at a time, occasionally finishing a bottle within a day. I've been taking them for about 5 months now. Recently, I've noticed that my skin, specifically my legs, have become so unbearably itchy when taking these. I've waned off of them for a few days and the itchiness clears up. I was curious if you guys also experienced this. People are experiencing physical symptoms to this particular drink. It took me 5 to survive the withdrawals. Here is a breakdown of how I did it so I can help others. Let me start by saying I was a 12 bottles a day kind of guy. And a few years before this, I got off alcohol, so I knew I could beat this too, but not gonna lie, it was still rough. So 12 bottles a day, that's about $120 a day. Unless, you know, you get discount from buying them in bulk, but that is absolutely terrifying. I had a good paying job so I could afford it. Now I can't, and I'm in $17,000 worth of debt because of Feel Free, or more so my addictive brain. That's 2 maxed out credit cards and $20 to my name. On top of that, I lost my job. At this point, I'm in full-blown withdrawals, no sleep, constant food cravings, and emotionally volatile, anxiety through the roof, depressed, anxious, tired, overwhelmed, angry, and craving. On top of that, every time I close my eyes, it was that black tunnel vision, except faster. That is terrifying. I'm not going to continue reading this because this is quite long, but yeah, you could go find this, you post yourself. There are so many people sharing their experiences, and it truly scares the absolute crap out of me how powerful this particular drink is and on people's brains. So yeah, if you have time, I strongly recommend going to check out the Reddit group because like I said, there's a lot there. As I mentioned, there was actually a class action lawsuit that was settled recently with Botanic Tonics. The lawsuit alleged that the company failed to warn consumers about the dangers of kratom and instead marketed Feel Free as a safe and healthy alternative to alcohol. After the lawsuit, they did make some changes to their labeling. They added a warning to the back of the bottle, but it's in tiny text that, you'd probably miss unless you were actually looking for it. On May 16th, 2024, Botanic Tonics issued a formal press release stating that effective immediately, the company would voluntarily raise the minimum age to purchase all feel-free products to 21 plus. But I do wonder if this is enforced like the same way alcohol is. Can you walk into any gas station and buy this if you look old enough, or is there an ID check? I would love for somebody to confirm in the comments down below if you have seen this at your local gas station or if you've experienced this. I know when I went to the US, it's just like a different system over there. If you look old enough here in Australia, you can buy alcohol and they don't do an ID check, where whatever age you are, I noticed this when I was like in Target and stuff, regardless of how old you are, they ask for your ID. And I wonder if that's the case in the US with this feel-free tonic, or if you just look old enough, they'll sell it to you. Framed as part of a broader push for responsible consumption and transparency within the industry. In a September 18th press release in 2024, Botanic Tonics stated that its early marketing practice had, quote, fell short of the high standards of transparency and consumer education that the company now champions. They emphasized that while these practices did not violate any laws, they recognized consumer concerns and began making changes. So they kind of admitted wrongdoing, but also didn't really apologize. They agreed to an $8.75 million settlement, like I mentioned, which kind of speaks volumes. And I will continue to follow this company because honestly, I don't know how profitable they will be now and in the future. I tried to do some digging, but because they are a private company, none of their financial performance information is available to the public. They don't share that type of information. So I think time's gonna tell whether or not this company can and will survive. My guess is honestly no. I think their public image feels just too tarnished at this point and will only continue to become tarnished. I don't think any influencer would work with them unless they live under a rock. And all of their comments on social media are turned off, which, isn't really a good sign.
Well, that's suspicious.
Feel Free looks like a wellness product. It's marketed like a wellness product. It's promoted like a wellness product. So people assume that it must be safe. But one of the good things about social media is it's given people a platform to share their stories and warn others. And that's what people have been doing with their platforms on TikTok who have had bad experiences with this drink. We are living in a society where we want quick fixes for everything. People want to feel relaxed, social, and energetic, but they don't want to do the work that traditionally comes with achieving those states naturally. They want it in a bottle and they want it now. Whether it be a buzz, whether it be more energy or more focus or just a better mood or just feeling happier is something I think that so many of us, especially in this existence we are currently living through, are desperate for. And the wellness industry has absolutely capitalized on these desires. They've created this whole category of products that promise to give you everything you want, whether it be in a little capsule or a bottle or a little product to consume. And people are buying into it because they're desperate for solutions to the stress and anxiety of modern life. But, here's the thing that I really want you to remember, and I need to remember. When you're looking for quick fixes, you're vulnerable to predatory marketing and companies that activate things in your brain that can be very, very harmful to you and lead to straight up addiction. And that absolutely terrifies me. This whole thing really makes me question our regulatory systems. We have a product that acts on opioid receptors being sold at gas stations right next to energy drinks.
I'm seeing everybody talk about Feel Free, this tiny little blue bottle that everyone's getting addicted to. And it just makes me think of FDA regulation because I think that Celsius is next. I've had Celsius exactly 3 times in my life, but I can pinpoint to you exactly when I had it. And the feel, my mouth is watering right now. My hands are I'm feeling sweat in my hands just thinking about Celsius. It is not just an energy drink. They are saying that it's for working out and it's supposed to do all these health benefits. But the 3 times I've drunk Celsius, I've still think about it.
And again, this is something that not everyone falls into an unhealthy relationship with, but we have a company that's making millions of dollars from a lot of people. Some may be in recovery from alcohol addiction and they're jumping, from one addiction to another and getting hooked on kratom instead. I don't know about you, but it kind of reminds me of the opioid crisis. It feels like we're watching the same kind of pattern play out. A substance with addiction potential being marketed as safe and people getting hooked on it. And by the time anything gets done about it, thousands of people have already been harmed. So where does this leave us? Well, I think that this feel-free situation is a perfect case study into everything that's wrong with the intersection of, wellness culture, influencer marketing, and just straight up corporate greed. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, the company was marketing an addictive substance as a wellness product. We have a regulatory system that's completely failing to protect consumers. And we have a society that's so desperate for quick fixes that they're willing to try anything that promises to make them feel a little bit better, even if it's just for an hour or two. And I think overall, we really need to be more skeptical of wellness claims, especially that are all over TikTok. And, God, I could go into a whole separate rant about, wellness coaches and all that. But I think we really do need to take time to research more before we try things and decide if something feels right for us. We need to stop turning to these quick fixes or these artificial things just to feel something. There is no shortcut to wellness. Real wellness comes from taking care of yourself, eating well, moving your body, getting enough sleep, and managing your stress in a healthy way. And, building meaningful relationships and just a meaningful life. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think that this company knew there was a chance people would become dependent on their product? Or do you think that they aren't at fault? Do you have an experience with feel free, or do you have an experience with addiction? I'd love to hear your thoughts and your stories if you're willing to share them. I'd also love to hear, where you're at with your wellness and just how you take care of yourself, because I don't know if it's just me, but these days the world just feels heavier, and I hope that you're taking care of yourself when and however you can. Thanks again to Calm for sponsoring today's video. I will have all the information linked in the description. And thank you again for watching today's video. And please just be careful out there and just take care of yourself. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I'm going to have a few more linked through there if you want to check those out, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.